Hello everyone, my name is Abor, and today I'll be going over my project about GPU selection, ETL pipeline for the class data engineering, ISTA322. So before even diving in further, let's talk about the GPU prices can fluctuate. The performance really depends on the hardware setup and how they perform. Usually on the secondary market, listings, they're really messy and then they're inconsistent most of the times. And before even starting this project, I asked myself the question like, what is the best performance GPU I can get per performance per dollar? And because of that question, I was able to work with this data. So for this project, I used three data sources. The first being Kaggle.com, where I worked with GPU specs. The second was OpenML, where they have a lot of databases, and I was able to find GPU benchmarks. And for the third one, I used a SERP API, which is kind of a web scraper that was really useful to work with eBay Marketplace because I was able to scrape the sales, and I was able to do it up to 5,000 times because that was the amount I was able to work with search API. So for the extract part for this project, I was able to extract and explore around about the GPU specs. GPU specs is just a data set where we can find all the information about GPU specifications like memory size, how many shaders they have, what's the GPU chip they have. For GPU benchmarks, I was able to find a data set that it had a lot of redundant columns in the first place, and they had a lot of repetitive information that you could find in the GPU specs. So I use the GPU specs as my ground truth table. GPU sales, I was able to retrieve 5,000 GPUs, I believe, because that's what the SERP API allowed me to work with. For transformation part, mostly the names of the GPUs were worked with the regex pattern matching, which was easy to follow with, and I didn't really lose any the data rows in there, except I had to replace some NA values for benchmarks and then specs with appropriate representation of the emptiness, because I didn't want to lose any rows in there because they were really important for me. Every GPU model was important. However, in GPU sales, I had to use the NLP tokenization method where I had to do pattern matching, and as I mentioned before, it was a lot of false positives where people would post their job posting saying, oh, I can afford a service, I can build your PC, I can fix your PC, and there was like a word GPU, so web scraper just scrapped them. And there were some like GPU accessories like GPU holders and some missing data that would introduce a lot of false positives, so I had to really work with it. I dropped the NA values for the names I couldn't extract because it made sense. There was a lot of inconsistent data, there was noise, there was a lot of uncertainty. I'd rather work with the 100% trustworthy correct data without any false positives rather than introducing and filling the database with inconsistent, untrustworthy, wrong data that could lead for the potential future problems. I was able to get to the I was able to get to the point of having 4 tables where I would have GPU specs clean, ready to go, GPU benchmarks, everything was aggregated there, and I was able to get another table which was the aggregation from benchmarks with GPU average performance, where we would get the average FPS, average game settings, and then the average G3D mark units that is used for measuring the performance for GPU. And the last was the GPU sales, and I'm loading it to Ivan using PostgreSQL. Demo time. So we have 3 queries ready to go to check whether our database works, and the first one is one of my favorite ones that actually answered my question that I was really hoping to answer for this project, is to get the best GPU that gives you performance per dollar. And the second query is a little bit modified version of the first one, where we're asking only to give us the best average price. So we're referring to our average table, and then we are checking our average price with respect to average FPS. And our third query is pretty much the same, except it works the other way. We're asking what's the average FPS, and we're just trying to show which is the best average FPS that it gives us and what's the price it can offer us. So this is the end of the project. I really appreciate if you liked it and enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day. Thank you.